Have you ever stopped to think about the power that silence can have in your life? In today's world, where everything is noise, urgency, and distractions, silence seems rare, almost impossible to achieve. But what if I told you that it could be the key to transforming your relationships and, even more, your way of living? It might sound counterintuitive, but silence, which many see as empty, is actually full of meaning. It can resolve conflicts, deepen connections, and even bring a peace that words could never achieve. Maybe you're used to believing that good communication always requires something to say, but let me show you that, in many situations, silence is the wisest answer. It teaches us to listen with our hearts, to understand others without judgment, and to connect with the essence of who we are. Imagine being able to transform even the most difficult moments in your relationships with something so simple, yet so powerful. Now I want to ask you, what word comes to your mind when you think of silence? Write it in the comments and help our channel grow even more. Your suggestion will be a special record in this video and show that you're with me on this journey. Shall we dive into this learning experience together? Have you ever found yourself in a tough conversation, feeling the urge to say something, defend yourself, or even interrupt? I know how that feels. In those moments, it seems like the only way out is to fill the silence with words. But let me share a secret. Silence is often the most powerful response you can give. It creates space. Space for the other person to speak, and more importantly, for you to truly listen. Have you noticed how a pause can completely shift the tone of a conversation? It's as if it says, "I'm here, listening to you." That silence isn't empty, it's full of attention. Think about it. When you choose not to react immediately, the other person is often caught off guard, right? People who expect an instant response are usually prepared to argue. But when you stay silent, something different happens. The other person starts reflecting more on what they're saying. Have you ever had that experience where someone kept complaining, but when you stopped responding, they began to rethink their words? That's the power of silence in action. It disarms, creates reflection, and reduces tension. Silence also helps you organize your thoughts. In a difficult conversation, the chances of saying something in the heat of the moment that you'll regret later are high. Silence gives you time to breathe, understand what's happening, and then decide what to say. It's not about avoiding the problem. It's about choosing to face it calmly and wisely. You show that you're not there to win an argument, but to resolve and understand. In the end, silence often communicates much more than any poorly chosen word ever could. Have you ever been with someone special and realized your mind was somewhere else, preoccupied with a million things? It happens to everyone. But let me tell you something. Truly being present is the greatest gift you can give to someone you love. It doesn't require grand words or elaborate gestures. Sometimes, just sitting quietly, attentive, and letting the other person feel that you're truly there is enough. Imagine a calm afternoon where you simply look at each other, with no rush, no pressure. Those silent moments often create memories far deeper than you'd expect. Paying genuine attention to someone by your side is rare these days, and silence plays a special role in that. When you stop thinking about what you're going to say next, or trying to fill the void, something magical happens. You truly begin to listen. Have you noticed how people feel valued when you dedicate your full attention to them? It doesn't matter if it's your partner, a friend, or even a child. Being present in silence communicates something words never could. You're important to me. That deep connection that comes from silence is unique. It's in those moments that you notice the little things, the person's facial expression, their tone of voice, or even the sparkle in their eyes that speaks volumes without saying a word. Have you ever had a moment when it felt like the world around you disappeared, and the only thing that mattered was the person next to you? That's what I'm talking about. It's in that space, free from distractions, that bonds are strengthened and you truly feel connected. Before we continue, how about a quick pause? Take 5 seconds to like this video and write "presence" in the comments. This simple action will help our channel grow and spread this message to even more people. Let's do this together. Has someone ever confided in you, and while they were speaking, your mind was already planning what to say next? It's such a common habit, but let me tell you something. When you truly listen, without rushing, without thinking about your reply, the impact it has on the other person's life is immense. Silence, in this case, isn't just the absence of words. It's presence. It's attention. When you choose to listen with your heart, you give the other person something rare these days, the feeling of truly being understood. Silence is the fertile ground where empathy grows. Think about the last time someone genuinely listened to you, without interrupting, without trying to correct you. Remember how that made you feel? When you do the same for someone else, you create a deep connection. Imagine a friend going through a tough time. If you just listen, without trying to fix their problem or give advice, what you're silently saying is, "I'm here with you." That kind of silence speaks louder than any speech. Listening with your heart takes practice, but the results are transformative. You start noticing the feelings behind the words. Sometimes, what a person is trying to say isn't in their words, but in what they can't bring themselves to express. That's where silence works. It creates space for the other person to share their emotions without fear of judgment. And you know what? That completely changes the depth of your relationships. People remember those who listen with empathy, not for what they said, but for how they made them feel. Have you ever been in an argument where every word seemed to make things worse? In those moments, silence can be your best choice. It doesn't mean you agree or that you're avoiding the problem. It's a way to create space for emotions to settle. Sometimes the other person is so overwhelmed by the moment that anything you say will only add fuel to the fire. Choosing silence is like pressing pause during a storm, giving things a chance to reorganize themselves. Silence also protects you from saying something you'll regret later. We've all had moments where we blurted something out in the heat of the moment and had to deal with the aftermath. In those situations, stopping, breathing, and staying silent can save you from those regrets. It's like telling yourself, "Take a moment, you don't have to respond right now." This not only prevents bigger conflicts, but also shows maturity. Choosing silence in tense moments conveys a calm strength that often soothes even the other person. Remaining silent can also be a powerful way to show respect. Imagine someone criticizing you or saying something unfair. Silence, in those moments, can be more impactful than trying to defend yourself. It shows that you're not willing to feed into that negative energy. And here's the most interesting part. The other person often realizes that silence is a much stronger response than any argument. It's like saying, "I choose not to react." This completely shifts the dynamic. Silence, when well practiced, can be one of the greatest tools for building genuine and lasting relationships. Have you ever noticed how sometimes words feel insufficient to express what you truly feel? It's in that void that silence becomes powerful. It allows you to be fully present, not just with others, but also with yourself. When you develop the habit of being silent, you notice the nuances, gestures, and emotions that would otherwise go unnoticed amidst the noise of words. Practicing silence daily is like meditating for your relationships. It helps you slow down, understand your own feelings better, and see how they affect others. Picture a conversation where you listen more than you speak. That act alone shows care and respect. People who know how to listen in silence create a space of trust and intimacy. It's not about being quiet all the time. It's about knowing when silence is more meaningful than any word. Living with intentional silence is also a way to strengthen your connection with loved ones. Spending time together without the need to fill every moment with words creates a unique energy. Have you ever felt that just being next to someone is enough? It's as if silence speaks for you both. This kind of practice not only deepens your bond, but also reveals that, at the core, what matters most is the quality of time shared, not the quantity of words spoken. Now that you understand how silence can transform your life and relationships, I want to invite you to start practicing. Don't wait for the perfect situation or the ideal moment, because they'll never come. Use silence daily, in conversations with loved ones, during difficult discussions, and even when you're alone. The more you practice, the more you'll see its profound impact, not only on yourself, but on everyone around you. So, are you ready to take this step? How do you think silence can change the way you relate to others? Share your thoughts in the comments, because your experience might inspire someone else watching this video. What will be the first situation where you'll put all this into practice? I'd love to know. If you enjoyed this content and want to keep learning about topics that truly make a difference, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. That way, you won't miss any of our future videos. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for reflecting. I'll see you in the next video.